Welcome, thrill seekers, to a world of spine-chilling tales and hair-raising adventures. Gather around for a frightful journey into the unknown as we delve deep into the realm of scary stories. Buckle up, hold on tight, and get ready to experience a rush of terror like never before. The Johnson family had always been proud of their family farm, a sprawling piece of land that had been passed down through generations. But that pride turned to fear when they began to notice strange occurrences around the farm. At first, it was small things. The sound of footsteps in the middle of the night, doors opening and closing on their own, and strange whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. But as time passed, the occurrences grew more frequent and more intense. The family began to experience nightmares, and they would often wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedroom door open, even though they had locked it before going to bed. The animals on the farm also began to act strangely. Their cows would suddenly become aggressive, attacking each other and the family members. The chickens would stop laying eggs and the pigs would refuse to eat. The family tried everything they could think of to explain the strange occurrences. They contacted electricians to check the wiring, they called in exterminators to look for pests, but no one could find anything wrong. Finally, the family decided to call in a paranormal investigation team. The team arrived at the farm and immediately began their investigation. They set up cameras and recording equipment all over the property, and they began to perform rituals and prayers to try to communicate with whatever entity was haunting the farm. Days went by without any significant findings, but one night the team captured something truly terrifying. One of the cameras had recorded a shadowy figure moving through the barn, and as they played the footage back, they could hear a voice speaking in a language that none of them could understand. The team knew that they were dealing with a powerful and malevolent force. They advised the Johnson family to leave the farm and seek help from a religious leader. But the family refused to leave their land, and they remained determined to find a way to rid their farm of the demonic presence. They began to experience more intense occurrences, with objects flying across the room and the sound of demonic laughter echoing through the house. The family even started to hear voices whispering in their ears, urging them to do terrible things. As the weeks went by, the Johnson family began to lose hope. They knew that they were fighting a losing battle against the demon that had possessed their farm. But just when they thought that all was lost, a glimmer of hope appeared. The family patriarch, William, had a vision in his sleep. In the vision, he saw a figure dressed in white, with a radiant light shining from their eyes. The figure spoke to him, telling him that there was a way to defeat the demon that had taken over their farm. The figure gave William instructions for a ritual that could banish the demon from their land. It was a complicated ritual, involving specific ingredients and actions, but the family was determined to follow it to the letter. They gathered all of the necessary ingredients, and they performed the ritual in the dead of night, in the middle of the barn. They chanted ancient incantations, burned herbs, and sprinkled salt all over the property. And then, suddenly, everything went quiet. The demonic laughter and whispers stopped, and the family felt a sense of peace descend upon them. They knew that they had succeeded in banishing the demon from their land. The family woke up the next morning to a beautiful sunrise and a sense of relief that they hadn't felt in weeks. The animals were calm, the air was clean, and the family felt a sense of joy that they hadn't felt in a long time. They knew that they could never forget what had happened on their farm. But they also knew that they had faced their greatest fear and emerged victorious. They had saved their land and their family from the clutches of evil, and they were stronger. As the days went on, the strange occurrences on the farm became more frequent and more violent. The family tried to ignore it, but it was impossible. The walls of the house seemed to close in on them, and every corner held a new terror. One night, as the family sat down for dinner, the table began to shake violently. The plates and silverware flew off the table, crashing to the floor. The family jumped out of their seats, screaming in terror. They looked around the room, but there was no one else there. The next day, the family decided they had had enough. They were going to call in a priest to perform an exorcism. They knew it was their last hope, and they were willing to try anything to save their farm and their family. The priest arrived that night, carrying with him an array of holy items. He began the exorcism, calling out to the demons to leave the family and the farm. The family watched in fear as the priest worked his way through the house. As he moved from room to room, the priest began to notice something strange. The demons seemed to be growing stronger, more powerful, and more defiant. It was as if they were enjoying the battle, relishing in the fear and pain they were causing. The exorcism continued throughout the night, but as the sun began to rise, it was clear that the demons were not going to leave. The priest knew he had to do something drastic, something he had never done before. He called out to the demons, challenging them to a one-on-one battle. The demons laughed, but the priest was deadly serious. He knew that he had to take a stand and fight for the family and the farm. The battle was fierce, with the priest and the demons exchanging blows back and forth. The family watched in horror as the walls of the house shook and the floor trembled beneath them. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, the priest managed to land a fatal blow on the lead demon. It let out a blood-curdling scream and vanished, along with the other demons. The family watched in amazement as the farm returned to its peaceful state. The animals stopped their restless behavior, and the crops began to grow again. The family was grateful to the priest, but they knew that they would never forget the horror that they had faced. From that day on, the family never spoke of the demonic possession of their farm again. They went about their daily lives, but they always kept a watchful eye out for any signs of the evil that had once plagued them. But deep down, they knew that the demons were still out there, waiting for their chance to return. And so, the family lived in fear, always wondering when the next attack would come. For they knew that the demonic possession of their farm had left a permanent mark on their souls, one that would never fade away. As the night draws to a close, we bid farewell to the terrors that haunted us and the spine-tingling tales that kept us on the edge of our seats. Remember, the darkness may linger, but the dawn always brings a new light. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and never stop exploring the mysteries of the unknown.